Hey everyone, Kevin Lewis with Home Life Benchmark Realty, and it's time for your May 2024 Fraser Valley Real Estate Market Update. First off, I just want to mention that I'm sorry I missed the last couple of newsletters. I've just been busy with the vacation and then coming back from vacation and catching up on work and everything. And I simply just missed the last two newsletters, being too busy taking care of my clients. But we're back now and we're going to check in what's going on in the market for May 2024 and see how weird of a market we're really in right now. Now, when I say we're in a weird market, certain parts of the market are very hot and multiple offers on most properties that are priced well. Whereas we look at the other side of the market and it's just dragging behind. Seems nobody's interested in these property types, despite the fact that traditionally they've all sold pretty well over the years in the past. With 1,310 sales for the month of April 2024, we saw a 5% increase compared to March 2024. So we did see the month-to-month increase that we'd expect to see from March to April. However, we were 5% fewer than last April, of April 2023. We're 10% below the 10-year average, 20% below the 10-year average for the number of sales for April. So we're certainly not back into a full swing market where we're seeing typical spring numbers for the number of sales happening. However, on the other side of that, we are seeing typical number of new listings coming up, hitting the market in April 2024. With 3,411 new homes hitting the market in April 2024, we saw a 33% increase in new listings just compared to last month in March 2024, and a 66% increase compared to last April. Now we have to recognize last April was when interest rates started flip-flopping and everything, or started coming back down and prices started going back up again. And it was still a pretty weird market last year. However, this year we're seeing totally amount of new listings coming up like we want to see. The sales are just lagging in behind. The reason for this is likely still due to interest rates, and buyers are still hesitant to get back into the market and purchase a home while you're looking at 5% interest rates. If the interest rates do come down, and I would expect that a lot of that inventory is probably going to be taken away fairly quickly as buyers start to jump back in, but that's just still a giant if and when the rates will come down. We don't know that they're coming down for sure this summer. A lot of the reports seem to lead that way as if they're likely going to come down this summer. I still believe there's a good chance they do. But of course, we can't ignore the reality and the fact that there is a possibility that rates just stay where they are for the remainder of the year. And the question is going to be, are buyers eventually going to start to jump back in despite the rates staying up? Or are we just going to see people hold off until those rates eventually do come down, whenever that may be? We are still in technically a seller's market with 24 out of every 100 homes listed selling for the month of April. Now, if we break that down to property type, we're technically in a balanced market for detached homes and a seller's market for both condos and townhomes, with townhomes being the absolute hottest with 38 out of every 100 homes selling. Now, the reason that townhomes tend to be a little more attractive or a little more popular is, for one, there's just fewer townhomes out there. So when we're looking at percentage-based sales, the same number of sales for the same number of townhouses is going to be closer to the total limit. And that's going to bring us closer to that 100% number. Whereas there's a lot more condos just inherently by the design of how a condo versus a townhouse works. A townhouse takes up the space of 2 or 3 condos. So of course there are more condos on the market. And despite the fact that there's actually more condo sales, the ratio stays lower because there's that many more condos available. Now, the reason for this is likely due to affordability and who's buying townhouses versus who's buying condos and who's buying detached homes. Townhouses is both people upsizing and people downsizing. Yeah, there's definitely people downsizing into condos, but the majority of people buying condos is going to be either investors or people buying into their first or second home in slightly larger condo than their first one was. And of course, comes down to affordability. This is likely why the detached homes are lagging behind for sales, because anybody who can afford a condo, yeah, they can afford a condo. Anybody who can afford the townhouse, they can afford that townhouse and the condo. And then you have your third tier, which is people who can afford that detached house. Now, if you can afford that detached house, you can afford the townhouse and you can afford the condo. The opposite is not true. If you can only afford a condo, you're only looking at condos. So the buyer pool for condos is much larger than that buyer pool for those detached homes, just inherently due to the affordability of the product. Now, despite the fact that the market is pretty weird right now, we can recognize that this may actually be a decent time to make a move, depending on what it is that you're planning to do. If you're just planning to purchase or you're going to upgrade your property to the next property type, be it from a condo to a townhouse or a townhouse to a detached house, or just improving the situation you're in and staying in the same type of home, if you are moving up in property value, now might actually be a pretty good time to do so. Yeah, you're going to be buying in with a little bit higher interest rate than maybe if you wait, if the rates do eventually come down. But what we're seeing right now is a type of market we haven't seen for quite a long time in the Fraser Valley here, with listings going up, but sales staying where they are, and the market forecasted to be in a position where we're likely to see prices increase in the near future. This gets you yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer to sell your home in the first place. But once you have sold it and you're ready to buy, we know that the inventory's out there because there's lots of listings available. And we know we're going to have more time to make a good decision, think about things, do our due diligence, get that inspection done, and make sure that the product that we're buying into is exactly what we're expecting it to be. And there's no big surprises. So yeah, you're paying a little bit higher in the interest rates, but if my predictions are correct and the interest rates do come down and prices are likely going to go up, which makes that shift a bit of a moot point when it comes to buying. On the selling side, yeah, maybe you'll put a little bit more cash in your pocket, a little bit larger down payment for the next place. And that's certainly something to keep in mind. But the feel of the market and what we're going to be dealing with as far as managing your stress and all of that throughout the process now might just be that good time to do so. Now, if we're thinking about selling and not buying back in or selling and downsizing, I would say that the best time to make that move is when it makes sense for you to do so. Yeah, we can try to time the market. And if you don't have any real motivation to make that move happen, other than you just eventually want to get into a smaller space or you eventually want to offload that investment property, but there's no reason you need the money today, or there's no reason you need to move on with your life and get that move done, waiting is certainly not going to be a bad option for you. As we say, we're expecting to see the rates come down. And when the rates do come down, we are expecting to see prices jump up a bit. How much they come up, I don't know. When rates are going to come down, I don't know. And how much they're going to come down, we just don't know. So there's a lot of unknowns with the waiting side of things. But like I say, I don't see many negatives to the waiting side either, other than the fact that we simply just don't know how long it's going to take. Now, doesn't mean now is a bad time to sell your place or downsize if it makes sense for you because you want to get it done and over with. And when you're buying on the downsizing side of things, you still want to take advantage of that time because that is still a factor, despite the fact that you're not going to have a mortgage on it or it's going to be a very small mortgage. If you are downsizing, it's still nice to have that time to think about things when you're buying. Overall, the market in April 2024 was certainly a weird market, but I definitely wouldn't say it's a bad market. It's a market of uncertain future as far as the interest rates go that's causing a lot of weird anomalies in our market. Like I say, certain pockets are going really hot. Other pockets that you'd expect to be moving are dead in the water. So whatever it is you plan to do for your next move, make sure to get in touch sooner than later so we can start making a plan today and make sure that once you are ready to get into your new home, we're ready to jump in just like that and make the move as stress-free as possible. I look forward to hearing from you. Leave your comment below, send me a text, send me an email, give me a call, 604-218-5635. Thanks for tuning in.